I want to look up a word in the dictionary and find out how it's pronounced or what the meaning is. Right, Benjamin? Right, Francisco? I look up the word and it brings back the meaning. Well, a dictionary in Python is I look up the word, the key, and what does it return? You two guys?
The value.
Value, yeah. So if I look up cat, it returns, says meow. If I look up mouse, it says is chased by cats. So it's not indexed, it's not in order. You pick the pieces out based on what your keyword is. Key value pairs,
So,
right? Okay, just paying attention. Because if you're just gonna do homework and look at your phone, you can do that somewhere else, It doesn't have to be here. So yes,
so and also a dictionary is basically like making an equation and equating the X's and Y's kind of.
I don't know that I'd use that analogy, because I'm not a math head. But one of the places we've used dictionaries in the past is when we do our APIs. Let me show you one of them. I'll just do affirmations. So that's the first one in there. So when we pulled our jokes and whatever we've done with APIs, the information is stored in what's called a JSON file, which is just a data structure, meaning it's storing information. Like a data structure means lists. You have one word, you have a bunch of data in it. A dictionary is the same way. You have one word variable, a bunch of information in it. When you pull an API, the information comes in as a dictionary. And I think I'm printing the dictionary. Yeah, I'm printing the dictionary in this. So let me run this. Hopefully this guy is still working. There, right? Past does not equal the future. Well, how in the world did I get that? Well, let's debug it and find out. TRUE, turned on the debugging mode, which turns on and shows me everything, including all the failed stuff. There is my raw data from the API. What does that look like that we just talked about? Francisco, what does it look like? Yeah, I'm going to keep bothering you here.
Like JSON.
It's JSON, but what does it look like that we just looked at a minute ago? It's a key value pair. It's a dictionary. So many API calls are made up of lists with dictionaries inside them. Sometimes they have dictionaries with lists inside them. So a more complicated one, which we will do, not this week, but we'll do it eventually, is we're going to do Open Weather Map. There it is, CLI tutorial. We're going to do an Open Weather Map program, and that's a whole bunch more complicated. So we're going to retrieve weather information, which would have high temperatures, low temperatures, in between temperatures, humidity, all that stuff. There, how about that? A lot of goop, isn't it? Not really. This is the outside structure of the whole thing, which means that each of these key, well, we have a key value, but our value, can it be a dictionary? You betcha. A value can be a dictionary. A value can be a list. A value can be just a single entry. So this is a complex combination of dictionaries and lists. So for instance, if I want to get my current longitude, I would say coord dot get longitude. I'd have my longitude returned. So I'm stacking things together. So let's look at the code. There it is. Dot get main, get temp. So I'm doing two of them in a row. What does this dot get? I don't know what that is, right? Because we just got to dictionaries. Well, let's go a little further with dictionaries before we look at that. But that's where one of the places we can use dictionaries. So in this case, we're getting the word. If the word does not exist, using dot get doesn't fail. The other way you can access dictionaries is by doing brackets, just like we did with the list. However, if the word does not exist, you get an exception. So the safer way to do it is dot get. Dot get, if it doesn't exist, it just returns nothing, and you can go on with your program. So it's a safer way to do it. With a list, if you put in a index of a value that doesn't exist, it explodes. Yeah, none. It doesn't blow up. It just doesn't return anything. Because I put in a value that doesn't exist. There. Key value, dog has a tail and woof is associated with dog. I can then place that together and say a dog has a tail and goes woof, which I did down here. A dog has a tail and goes woof. All right, easy peasy, maybe. All right, the next one is, it says in-class dictionary. Huh, what that is. Well, let's look at in-class dictionary, see what I did. Oh, that's what I did. I went through how a list works. So here's our list, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can print them each out. There's a dictionary. How do I get something out of the dictionary? Well, if I get color out of here, what's going to happen? Nothing. I'm not going to get anything. I'd have to have a key value pair, but I can do that. I just have to put in a key because anytime I'm getting something, I'm putting in the key and I need to return the value. So my value could be blue. Now it'll work. Each entry has to be separated by a comma. You don't have to have a comma at the end because each entry is separated. This is the conventional way to display dictionaries because otherwise it goes clear off the edge of the screen if you have a very big dictionary. So this is just separating it. Oh, I don't have a Python formatter, so. All right, you can do this. Oh, sorry. How do you add things to the dictionary? Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Well, you say, this is the key. This is the value. What if I put in a key that already exists? What's going to happen?
Nothing.
If I put in color and I say color is equal to green, what's going to happen? Do I end up with 2 entries called color?
Is it overrated?
It overwrites it. You can only, each dictionary key has to be unique. You can't put 2 dictionary keys of the same type in there. So if I print this out right here, it is going to Spanish. There we go. It's going to have green. So let's go ahead and run that. There. Blue, I changed it. Now it's green. Yes.
Is it possible to just print like the key?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should be getting to that. I did this in class and if I don't get to it, I will get to it. Because printing like this is fine for troubleshooting and seeing what's in the dictionary, but we do want to have a way to, oh, as a matter of fact, here it is. You can print each key in the Spanish dictionary. You can actually print each key in value if you want.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and, it was in there, I just didn't see it. Because I think I have to put it in input. Yeah, so we'll just say, car. And put in a van. So this prints it out the traditional way. This does the key, value, key, value, key, value, key, value. Well, what happens when you print the key? You get the value. But if you just want to print the key, you have to do key dot items or something, but I didn't do that at this. But you can just print out the key. You can just print out the item. I just don't remember right off the top of my head how to print them separately. Yes, Ignacio.
I'll be back. I'm just going to a bar.
Oh, you don't have to ask. You can go ahead.
Oh,
You're fine. Oh, this is just more stuff. Oh, I must have been thinking of Spanish in that day. Yeah, you'll occasionally see Spanish as I try to learn Spanish very interestingly. All right, so student tracker. We can use a dictionary to store grades. We have a single data structure. Student grades. I can have Alice, Bob, and Clara, and they can each be distinct and have their own grades. How do I get Clara's grade? I put in Clara. How do I add a new entry? I do this to add a new entry. Change an existing value. Get is the best way to retrieve information. There is no Emma, so it returns none. There is an Alice, so it returns this. Deleting a key deletes the value. Sorry. Deleting a key deletes the value. I mean, both the key and the value. Because the value only can exist if there's a key. So if the key is gone, the value disappears. And this one does name grade. There. So I was able to use the two separate variables. See how it peeled both of them off? Because I used items. Now I have two variables. I can place these in a sentence and make it look nicer where the other one just printed out the keys and the values. So this is the one I was thinking of. You do items, you do have to put both of these here, but you don't have to print out each variable. You can print out just the key, just the value. In this case, I made like a little report that goes through and prints out, George has a grade of whatever. I think that does finally answer your question. So you can pick which parts you print out. You can't change this because you have to return two things because the items in the dictionary, there's always two, key and value. And with Python, you can take one thing and return two things, which is not typical of most languages. Makes it pretty flexible that way. You can return more than one value. Most languages, you can only return one value. That's dictionaries. And then we have one that's an assignment, the English-Spanish dictionary. Well, I shouldn't show you that, should I? And then you'll have the answer already. But the first thing would be to go through the tutorials so that that helps understand it. So now that we've gone through dictionaries, let's go back to our guy over here we're looking at. So self.weather data is my dictionary. Let's just say that's my dictionary. Let's get rid of this thing. How do I get rid of it? Boy, I don't know why when I open this up, sometimes it just goes ballistic like this. Okay, anyway, we'll do that. Okay, I can get rid of at least that part. All right, so self.weather data, that's my dictionary of weather data. I'm going to get name and get temp. What does that show you that I'm doing? What do you think that is? I'm using a dictionary, and the key I'm getting out of the dictionary is from another dictionary. So now let's look at the place that I got it from in here. Get that out of the way. There it is. So I got main, then I got temp, and it returns the current temperature, which is in Celsius. So this must have been in the summer, I'm guessing. It was pretty warm. So if you go from left to right with a complex API like this, you can figure out how to retrieve it. This is one of our things that we're going to do, is do this guy. That's kind of fun. I like doing weather. Okay, I don't know where my run button has disappeared. Oh, brother. Let's try this. Okay, we'll have to do this then. Let's see, weather. Okay, we'll do 5. There, so let's say Scottsbluff. Oh, I should say Gearing. Nebraska. Country is US. There is the current weather in Gearing according to Open Weather Map. Not always exactly accurate, but pretty close. Sunrise at 7:13 in the morning, sunset at 6. Woof, we're losing time, aren't we? Every day we're losing time. You suppose the sunrise and sunset the same in Scottsbluff? Well, probably, yeah.
Probably pretty soon.
Because we're on the same, whatever line that is, latitude or longitude or something. So is that a practical application? Sure. Who doesn't like to make a weather program?